this may be the best movie I've seen all year. Hello everyone, I hope you're all having a wonderful day today. My name is Dalal and welcome to Popcorn and Soda, the show where we discuss all things movies, pop culture, and so much more. As always, I want to thank each and every one of you for making moi a small part of your day. Deadpool and Wolverine. The first, and actually only MCU movie of this year. What did I think of the long-awaited duo buddy mashup between two icons in the superhero world and two equally as much as icons in the acting world, Mr. Hugh Jackman, Ryan Reynolds? This movie does not disappoint. This was truly one of the best movie-going experiences I've ever had. I don't even know where to begin with this movie because it's just so damn good. And what I love about this movie is that it's accessible for everyone. And what I mean by that is you don't need to have to see every single MCU film or every single MCU TV show to understand how this movie works and the plot of the movie. What it does is it makes it simple for its audience. Within 10 minutes, it explains everything and you're in it right away. So, as always, we'll kind of start with a little synopsis of the film and we'll talk about the things that I loved, the things that maybe didn't work for me, and my overall thoughts of the movie in general. So, the movie follows Wade Wilson in his world where he's years, from playing Deadpool, and he's at this point not really Deadpool. He's kind of trying to go through a bit of package himself in certain ways, figure out who he really is. He's going through an identity crisis where he's been Deadpool now for a few years, but it's almost like, who's Wade? And that's where the movie kind of begins, where he's having some problems with Vanessa, his girlfriend in the universe, and specifically just not feeling like he matters and trying to find his way in the large scope of things, where he fits into this universe. What happens is, of course, Wade does a bunch of really naughty things, and Wade gets caught by the TVA, the Time Police in the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and they bring him in. And pretty much what they tell him is, hey, your universe is dying, and we're offering you a spot in the sacred timeline, which to us is known as the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I believe it's Earth 616. And they're like, Wade, this is all yours. Go ahead. But in return, your world's going to end. And this is where Wade's like, whoa. I thought I could bring them all with me. I thought we could all live together. And they're like, nope, in order for you to go to the MCU, you have to leave your world behind. And this is where our journey begins, in which Wade, no matter how much of a killing machine that he is, he at his core is a good friend and a loving friend. And he denies this and boom, sets off a chain of events where he has to find a Wolverine to help him restore his world from the brink of defeat and annihilation. And that's where this movie really starts. In the first 10-15 minutes, you know exactly where everything is going. It's like 2 hours long, but it just zips right by. And that is where he finds Wolverine. And we find a very different yet interesting Wolverine who is equally going through his own issues and living with the guilt of something very tragic that happened in his timeline. So now that we have the movie kind of set, let's talk about the things that I love, because there's so many things that I loved in this movie. The very first thing is what I pretty much just said. This movie's simple. The story is simple. Yes, it feels like, oh, this is a movie about different timelines, different universes, different characters you've seen in the past, wink, wink, characters you may see in the future. So how's this simple? The reason being is you don't need to watch all the other MCU movies or the TV shows to understand this. They put everything to you in layman's terms in like 15 minutes. Anyone can watch this movie and understand what's going on, because in Deadpool fashion, breaks the fourth wall and gives you that insight throughout the movie as to what's going on, what you're thinking, you're fine. And I think that is the best part about this movie. Anyone can watch this movie and have a great time with it. The second thing, Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds. Those two are like peanut butter and jelly. They just go together perfectly. Ryan Reynolds is a Canadian icon. I love Ryan Reynolds. I always had since the early days of Van Wilder, Just Friends, his cameo in Harold and Kumar. I absolutely adore Ryan Reynolds. And Hugh Jackman, he is an icon. There's no denying it. He is one of the few actors that were born to play a certain role. He was born to play Wolverine. There's no denying that. I grew up watching Wolverine in the X-Men movies when I was a little kid, and the soft spot that I have in my heart for Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, it brought back so many great memories. I loved their chemistry. I loved their buddy cop almost chemistry. They hated each other. They loved each other. And where they end off is such a great, great spot. So I loved both of them being prime form. Literally, they were at their best. Ryan Reynolds has been crushing it for a few movies as Deadpool, but I think here's where he truly, hits the apex. Congratulations, Ryan. You absolutely crushed it in this film. Hugh Jackman, again, class. Academy Award nominated. You know what you're going to get with Hugh Jackman every single time. And what I enjoyed about this film is you got a very different Wolverine. Very different. In which there's a lot of guilt, there's a lot of self-pity, there's a lot of destruction and self-destruction in this specific variant of Wolverine. So I love that core relationship because that makes the movie. Third thing that I love about this movie is that it's an homage to the previous Marvel movies, but specifically the 20th Century Fox superhero movies. I grew up in the early 2000s when I was a kid watching the X-Men movies, the Fantastic Four movies, everything that came out around that time. The Spider-Man movies. I loved everything. And those were the movies that had a big, soft spot in my heart. And this is such an homage to those movies that it was just, the kid in me was smiling from left to right because I loved everything that they utilized from those worlds into this movie. So literally, I'm going to give a bit of a spoiler alert right now. I'm going to give you 5 seconds. If you haven't yet seen the movie, please save this video and come back and watch this. There's one other thing that I really love that I want to speak of right now. So I'll give you 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bam. The Void. Specifically, all the returning badass characters in The Void, starting with Mr. Chris Evans as Johnny Storm. I loved Johnny Storm growing up. He was one of my favorite characters in the Fantastic Four movies. You see Chris Evans make his triumphant return to the MCU after Captain America, and we're all like, oh, that's Cap. But nah, it's Johnny. And the scenes with Chris Evans were absolutely my favorite part of the movie. He absolutely crushed it as Johnny Storm. All the other great cameos, Wesley Snipes, Jennifer Garner, Aaron Stanford as Pyro, Tyler Mane as Sabretooth. Amazing. Amazing, amazing, amazing. But one of my favorites by far, Channing Tatum as Gambit. Gambit is one of my favorite superhero characters because I just think he's so badass. And when for like 10 years, Channing was trying to make his Gambit, it's sad it never happened, but he finally gets his justice in this movie, and Channing was amazing. Everyone's seen the memes, but more importantly, he is such a great counterpart to Wade's Deadpool. I loved all those returning characters because they didn't feel out of place. They felt like they belonged in this world because of the story that they were setting, and I loved it. Lastly, my favorite part of the movie, and this is like in the first 10 minutes, was the Power of Love Back to the Future montage scene in which Wade's trying to go find the perfect variant for Wolverine. We find the Short King Wolverine. We find the Patch Wolverine. We find the John Byrne, brown and tan, fighting the Hulk Wolverine. but my favorite, the Cavalry, Mr. Henry Cavill, the best cameo in the entire movie as Wolverine. I don't know if this is a one and done. Most likely it is, but I truly believe if there's anyone that can succeed Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, it's Henry freaking Cavill. My favorite actor. Start the petition. Henry Cavill to return as Wolverine because he was so badass in this movie. So badass. I loved it. Amazing. Lastly, I gotta say this again. This movie has so much heart. At its core, it's all about friendship and love. And yes, it's wrapped up in this big insulated world of the MCU, but that's what it is. All the things that I just mentioned are, supporting pieces in the central story of this film. It doesn't rely on the external things of all these crazy cameos and appearances. At its core, it's all about Deadpool, it's all about Hugh Jackman, and it's all about them trying to make things right in their lives and in the universes. So honestly, it's just a blast. I have nothing negative to say about this film. I truly feel it is one of the best comic book movies I have ever seen because it is so rewatchable. I've seen it twice in theaters now, and both times it was one of the best experiences I've ever had. So again, a big shout out to Marvel for taking a gamble at their first ever R-rated MCU film. Big shout out to Ryan Reynolds for bringing this amazing pop culture character of Deadpool into the MCU. Hugh Jackman for, if this is the last time you see him as Wolverine, I doubt it. Thank you for coming back. And then even the supporting cast from the Deadpool world, they were all great in this movie. The Deadpool core, the ending, the jokes within each other, the fourth wall. This movie is the ultimate MCU movie. And hey, it's now the highest grossing R-rated movie of all time. So congratulations to everyone at Marvel Studios because it's so well deserved. And Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman, congratulations to you guys for finally showing the world your true buddy relationship that you have. And I forgot to mention, this is something that people forget. Shawn Levy, another great Canadian, great director. Absolutely directed the heck out of this movie. This movie could have gone off the rails very quick because of these larger than life characters. What Shawn did is that he played within the parameters that they set up for themselves, and he made sure that the story of the film does not deviate from the core characters of Deadpool and Wolverine. So big respects and much love to Shawn Levy because he's an excellent director. You guys know how I rank movies. It's not about star ratings or numbers. It's all about three things. Is this a movie theater movie? Is this a streaming movie? Or is this a rainy day movie where you're kind of flipping through the channels and you land on it and you just kind of leave it on in the background? This might be the most obvious answer ever. But again, this is the ultimate movie going experience. Watching this opening weekend with a bunch of other crazy comic book movie fans was an ultimate experience. It was like, it reminded me of Spider-Man No Way Home, Avengers Endgame. It was such a blast. I recommend everyone go watch this in a theater. And hey, if you're not able to watch this in a theater, it's going to be out on streaming probably in the next month or so. Watch it at home. It's a great movie. I think this is one of the best movies of the year. Not just comic book, but in general, one of the best movies of the year. So there you have it, guys. That is my review of Disney's, Marvel's, Deadpool, and Wolverine. What did you think of the film? Please comment below and let me know what you thought, because I'd love to hear what you thought about all those amazing cameos, the characters that were returning, and all the fun stuff. Lastly, the one thing I did forget to mention, stay back for the post-credit scene. Amazing Chris Evans scene, but more importantly, there's a very sweet montage about the Fox years of the Marvel, I don't want to say MCU, but the Fox Marvel movies. And that really pulled a heartstring because I grew up on those films. So again, much love to Disney, much love to Marvel, and I can't wait to see where this adventure continues next. As always, Thank you for spending your day with me. And if you've got 5 seconds of your time, I'd greatly appreciate if you can press that like button, hit that share button, press that subscribe button, click on that little notification bell, and I'll see you next time on Popcorn and Soda.